Welcome to Flavor Text, an extension of the Max Level podcast brought to you by Technisport Gaming Chairs. Use offer code LDG to save 10% whenever you make a purchase on a brand new gaming chair, desk, or accessories. Be sure to subscribe to the Max Level podcast on your podcast app of choice to hear a new episode every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. On today's episode of Flavor Text, the crew discusses the Epic Games Store and Steam, and what we could potentially see from them moving forward. Support us by clicking that subscribe button, hit the like, turn notifications on, and drop a comment down below. We got a good topic this week, and I want to kind of compare Steam to the Epic Games Store, based off of a news story that we saw last week. So if you're unfamiliar with everything, if you've been living under a rock, Epic released their own game store to compete with Steam, and they're giving developers a much bigger cut of sales. You know, what was it, Frank? Steam is 80.
No, it's Epic is 88-12. So 88 to the developers, 12 to Epic.
And Steam is 70-30, I believe.
Yes.
I believe Steam is 70-30. So last week, Ubisoft announced that The Division 2 would release on the Epic Store over Steam. And I want to take that and I want to focus on the possibility. Is it a potential thing that gaming companies going forward are going to choose Epic over Valve in terms of selling their games on launch and in and around the launch date and launch window, or for an exclusive period of time, if they feel the game may perform poorly, but they'll be able to make more off of a smaller amount of sales because the cut from Epic is larger? And this also is not a bad thing for gamers, because just I believe it was last Friday, actually, so a couple days ago, Epic announced a refund policy that completely matches 100% Steam, where you can refund a game if it's been less than 2 weeks and you've played less than 2 hours of the game. So their refund policy now 100% matches Steam. I think this is an interesting thing here, because the Epic Game Store is the first legitimate thing we have to a competition on the PC gaming market to Steam and Valve. Valve for the longest time has dominated the PC gaming market in terms of a marketplace to sell your games. We know that the Windows Store is bad. I mean, it's Microsoft's own way of selling their exclusive games on PC, but it's not that good. And that's why I made the prediction on the Maxwell podcast that last Monday that maybe, you know, my out there prediction was that they would purchase Steam and purchase Valve and totally change the landscape of how PC gaming works. Not going to happen, but I made the prediction. Go listen to that. I put up the predictions yesterday on YouTube, or you can listen to the Maxwell podcast every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern on your podcast service of choice. But I think this is an interesting topic to dive into for a little bit. Sean, I know you're a big PC gamer, probably more so than both myself and Frank. What do you think about this?
I think it's awesome for games that are going to have a big pop at the beginning and then die down. If you look at all of the games that sell recently on early access or Steam, there's this big hype. It dominates Twitch for like 2 or 3 days, maybe 4, and then it starts to dwindle. And you look at this and you think the companies are losing out so much on these games that are super popular, and then once people wise up and realize that there's not replay value, that the game doesn't necessarily have a good multiplayer component to it, or whatever the case may be, people just die off because of the community. So I think this is huge, because you can sell more in the beginning, get that cash, and then you're not looking to extend the life cycle of the game. You can just accept whatever it comes with. And maybe at that point you host it on Steam and you think, well, whatever I get, I get. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
And I think that's like the biggest thing, that because I mean, you look at, and the reason why I wanted to focus on this week is because of Ubisoft and The Division 2. The Division 1 had a great premise behind it. It seemed like such a cool game, such a cool idea, and it failed. It did not manage to capture the attention of gamers. Like, we all jumped in. Justin and I jumped in on day 1 for The Division. We thought it was so good. And then we realized the game is so bad. Like, and that's just kind of like what everyone thought. Like, it was such a good premise for a game that they didn't capitalize on and that they didn't expand on correctly. Like, they just failed miserably with The Division 1. And now The Division 2, Ubisoft has this big unknown there. We don't know how well the game is going to do. It comes out in March, and we aren't sure if it's going to perform well or not. People may skip out on it just because of what happened with The Division 1. They may play the wait and see game. They might wait for reviews, or they might wait for people that they know to play the game, or watch streams on Twitch or Mixer. And get people's firsthand impressions on these games and see how the game actually runs. So that's going to hurt initial sales. So why wouldn't you put it on a storefront where you have the potential to make more money off of those initial sales? And that's exactly what you were just talking about, where, you know, say potentially the game has the potential to sell, let's say 5 million, but it doesn't. It only sells 2.5 million. But because there is a 12% increase of a cut that you're going to get if you put it on the Epic Game Store as opposed to the Steam store from Valve, why wouldn't you take the store that's going to give you more money for each individual sale?
You're talking like $6 or $7 million right there, which is not
which is going to then, if, and I think this is the first big high profile game that's doing this, to my knowledge. Now, something could come out in the next month and a half before the Division 2 and release on the Epic Game Store over Steam. I don't count Hades. I don't think Hades is big enough to
just like Super Meat Boy. It was one that's going.
Yeah, like I don't count those. I'm talking like AAA major games like the Division 2. I think this is the first major high profile game that's doing this, and I think that if this goes well for Ubisoft and people can see, wow, they actually did make quite a bit more money by doing this, I think that you're going to start seeing more third-party publishers like Capcom, like Activision, like Bethesda has their own launcher, so they don't count, but like these other major third-party studios releasing their games on the Epic Store over Steam, just solely for the fact to get more money. And even if the game wasn't going to do bad, you're still getting more money. Like I don't think I can't.
I agree with that. I think you're thinking about this is only in one facet. I mean, this is actually good for everyone.
That's what I was just actually going to say.
This is actually good for Steam in general too.
It's true. How many times do you go on Steam and you see so much in such a limited window? There's too much content.
There's too much shit,
games,
dude.
There's too much lost.
There's too much bad stuff on Steam.
Steam is the only game in town for the most part. I mean, there's other littler things, there's GOG and stuff, but Steam is its own beast. And if you're the only dog in town, I'll maybe reference professional wrestling here. When it was just the WWF,
back in the mid-90s or the early 90s, you mean, like 80s, early 90s?
Yes, minimum effort, minimum time, minimum money thrown into it. It was just there.
Wait, so kind of like right now?
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, and then you have something like All Elite Wrestling, which is coming up, or the WCW is the parallel I was trying to make there, where you force them to put time and effort and restructure how the game was played. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I heard that I'm getting 18% more going somewhere and they're going to treat me better, I'm gonna go to the other location because obviously I want to save a little bit of money. I want better treatment.
Yeah, you're gonna leave in 1994 and go start Hulkamania and WCW down south.
Yes, it's gonna run wild, brother. This is only like Sean said. This is going to definitely cut down on all the fluff and nonsense that we have on Steam.
I hope so. That's my biggest issue with Steam is the pure garbage that's on there. There's so much garbage.
I honestly feel that a lot of that garbage is going to try to make its way over to Epic.
My God, I hope they don't. I hope they stop it. I hope Epic has a system in place, a better quality assurance system in place to where they can actually, review these games and look at them and like, wow, this looks like shit. You're not coming to my store.
But I feel this could raise them both. They both, trust me, there's plenty to go around for everyone. When it comes to games, but this can only make I feel this can only make Steam better. This can only help Epic as well. This is going to help gamers in general because we're going to have options. They can compete against each other, so we're not stuck with these prices that never move, other than these big Steam sales every once in a while.
Here's something else to think about, and I apologize to interrupt.
Oh, please.
We're ignoring the Blizzard effect. And we're ignoring how people are dedicated to the Epic store. They've got Fortnite. How much of an audience do you appeal to when you have Division 2? When people log in to play Fortnite and they're like, oh, this game looks okay. Like, maybe I can check this out too. That exposure is huge. It's free marketing.
So you're talking like Blizzard having Black Ops 4 on the launcher.
Exactly. You look at how many people downloaded Destiny 2 when it was free just because they played other games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I downloaded it. I didn't play it, but it's on my hard drive.
Yeah, same. I downloaded it. It's there.
Does Epic though try to pull like a move? I mean, they own Unreal.
Yeah.
Are they gonna anything that runs Unreal? Are they gonna try to like pull them in?
No.
You don't think so?
No, they make
hard.
way too much money licensing that to try to restrict people to it. Yeah, they make way too much money on the licensing fees.
Would you think maybe like, oh yeah, licensing, I could let you go a little bit if you give us exclusivity?
I think that'd be shit. I think that'd be shitty if they did that.
It'd be hard. You look at Microsoft, right? The Microsoft Office product line being on Mac is huge for Microsoft. And people will go, well, why? Well, you got all these people who are finally using their Mac for business. That hurts Microsoft kind of. But I think they make more off of mainstreaming the Office environment across all platforms to their product for software than they do for potential hardware, because they don't even sell their hardware proprietary. So you kind of look at it the same way with Epic, where they go, you know what? I probably make more money off of all the games selling with it than I would just selling the games that we approve of with it in it. So it's hard to look at it from that point of view, but I like where you're going with it. I think Epic needs exclusivity if they're going to compete with Steam. Just like Fortnite is definitely having coattails where everyone's riding on it, this is the best time for them to launch the store while their free-to-play game is hot.
And
right?
they're giving you a free games away on a consistent basis. So yeah. I think the current free game, if you download the store, is What Remains of Edith Finch, which is a fun game. I played that and it was awesome. It was a cool game. Do we think that this will force Valve to match Epic now in terms of the cut that they give developers?
Yes.
You think
I don't
so?
think it'll be the same. I think they'll at least move off the 70-30, maybe 75-25. But like, at least.
So you think Valve will still you think they'll try to keep more of the profit over Epic?
Yep.
You think they're going to try to stay that way?
I don't think they'll match. I think they'll try to come close. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of like fighting for exclusives. That's going to happen.
So do you think this actually becomes like the Sony and Microsoft of PC gaming, like where you have these two exclusive beasts where they are, like you just mentioned, fighting for exclusives? So, you have your, The Last of Us and Marvel Spider-Man on one, and you have your Crackdown and Fable on the other. Like, are you thinking it's going to go that route where they're both going to have like major AAA exclusives
eventually.
as well? Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen overnight.
Absolutely not. But or will it? What if the Division 2? What if the Division 2 never goes to Steam? What if it stays on the Epic Game Store?
It's a possibility. We don't know yet.
And we don't know.
What if it's so successful that it doesn't even come to console?
It's coming to console the same day.
Oh, okay. Well,
so it's launching day. It's launching day and date on PC and console. But
gotcha.
But I will take what you just said. What if it is so successful on the Epic Game Store that they don't feel the need to release it on Steam? Because let's be honest, it's not like you have to go and shell out $400 for an Xbox One if you have a PS4. It's not like you have to go out and buy a PS4 for $300 if you have an Xbox One. These stores are free to download.
But you also couple that with the risks and losses of the other giants in the industry. You look at Origin, in my opinion, huge failure. I don't know anybody who has Origin boot up on their PC startup. I don't know
anyone that plays The Sims.
Right, that's it. Right,
it is.
Wing Commander 3. Wow, great. You look at the Steam box. That to me is a failure. That is a failure. All their peripherals are failures. So we know that these guys are not afraid of trying things that we would consider to be unsafe or risky. And I think that changing the terms of the developer agreements and the publishing rights on Steam is nothing compared to launching the Steam box or any of that stuff. And they've been willing to do that. So I definitely agree with Frank. I think he's on the money here. This is going to open up competition. It may even lead to Microsoft taking a stance that Nintendo takes, where they just have their little store and they release their first-party stuff on it. They do their own thing. And it may be wildly successful for them because you are starting to see so much competition in the marketplace that it kind of maybe reels the industry in and gives it definition. As we're right now, it's just this huge amoeba of things floating around, and you just reach out as a gamer and grab whatever you can get.
Do we think that Valve will get desperate enough if they start seeing so many people, migrating to the Epic Game Store? All these companies are now putting their games on there before Steam. Do you think they try to entice people back to the Steam marketplace? or specifically gamers in general, by finally releasing Portal 3 or Half-Life 3?
I think definitely, but I think you can see a lot more ingenuity coming for their interface client. So right now, Steam is very basic. They need to add some more ease into their features. It's very difficult to use the overlay while in game. It's very convoluted.
It is.
Right? So they're going to simplify the platform because, let's face it, Epic appeals to 13-year-olds.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're everything about their client too.
I agree. I can even see Valve trying to make the move to become the THQ Nordic of
No.
Hey, we saw their stock portfolio on max level. I guess they're doing something right. I don't know who.
I love them. We know that. It's
and I don't. I think they're making a huge mistake and they're going to bankrupt themselves.
THQ Nordic is my next tattoo. The logo, forget about it.
On your forehead.
Yes.
You know what? You'll never get another job again.
At THQ Nordic, you will.
Yes, exactly.
You could be the mascot, but you have to move to Austria and you want to move to Colorado. Oh, I guess the climate's kind of similar. Snowy
Kind
and
of the
cold.
same.
Mountainous. Mountainous.
Plus, I love a good Bavarian cream.
I think it's an exciting time though for PC gaming just in general, just because I actually, before you guys started talking, I never put two and two together. Like, we almost do have like a quote unquote console war now on PC. And I never thought about that. And I never thought about the concept of what that could potentially bring, with maybe this will force Valve's hand to finally put the development resources out there for Portal 3 or Half-Life 3. Maybe this will finally get us those exclusive games, or, you know, it's interesting and exciting to think about what this could bring. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's only going to bring, like you said, positivity and excitement to gamers and to gaming companies as they can potentially get more money from their games.
Also look at it as this. When Walmart stepped into the gaming landscape and electronics landscape and competed against Best Buy, you saw a major shift in that industry. You saw a major change in how Best Buy pandered and catered to a specific audiences, because right now Steam is like Best Buy before Walmart took off. They sell anything and everything. They do whatever for everybody, and they just don't really hone in their audience. Now they're going to have to do that. Now they're going to have to Best Buy it. They're going to have to look at specific things that they really want to try to get out there and sell, because honest to goodness, who would host on Steam over Epic if it's successful? Nobody.
Yeah.
So you got to appeal in different ways to keep the subscriber base and the customer base up, right? So let's see what Steam does. It's exciting.
It's definitely exciting times. I can't wait.
Maybe they sell the games for a little cheaper.
Okay, so maybe Steam starts, but then they would have to sacrifice their own cut, right? They couldn't sacrifice the developer's cut. They'd have to sacrifice their cut if they put the games on sale.
Even $1 or $2. If I could save $1 or $2, I'd probably go away a better.
Well, I don't think I would.
Maybe Steam sales become more than once a year. Steam summer sale, Steam winter sale. Maybe you look at opportunities where they put games on sale more often. Like, here's a great example. I've been watching the Steam sales on Divinity 2.
Okay, yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2, right? It goes on sale, stays there for like a week or two, comes off. And then it's this constant sawtooth graph where it just keeps going on sale. Maybe we see it stay on sale longer. Maybe we see games at more of a bargain, games that have already been released and are looking for people to pick it up on the back end of their life cycle. Things like that could happen too. This doesn't just apply to new releases. This applies to games like Final Fantasy. Huge sales on Steam.
Absolutely.
Games have been out for years. You never know.
Do you think it goes even further now with exclusive in-game content, like the definitive experience on Steam?
I hope not.
Maybe. I hope not too, because then you get a different experience based off of what the game truly was.
Then it really is PS4 and Xbox One. I mean, you have, your exclusive missions in Assassin's Creed on the PlayStation 4 over when you buy it on Xbox One. It truly is that then. It really is a console at that point.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't come to that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Why wouldn't they? And I think Epic would be the one that gets the exclusive content, because then they're enticing people to buy it on the Epic store to get a bigger cut from the sales. Like, why wouldn't you release the definitive quote unquote version on the store front that's going to get you more money? So I don't know. It's going to be an exciting. I think this year is going to be exciting because of that. Like we're going to see a lot of developments on how games are sold on PC and how the PC architecture works with, Steam and Epic. And I think it's going to be the first time in a long time where the industry will be disrupted somewhat on PC gaming.
Hey, it's going to motivate innovation, man. That's all it can do. It's going to make things are going to happen.
Maybe you see Steam come out with a dedicated Steam computer instead of a Steam box, where it has connectivity, where it's basically a Microsoft PC streamlined for gaming out of the box, where you can put certain things on there like web browsers and certain programs, but you have to install all the games through Steam, and it's not for Office or anything like that. Maybe you can even sell those for cheaper, like at a console rate price, and now you've got a hybrid system, because they already pointed themselves towards that direction. They just can't seem to make that bridge between.
Yeah, they've been trying to do the Steam boxes for a long time.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe this will make them force that hand. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be weird. But it'll be exciting.
I think about buying one.
I would. Depending on the price, I think I would.
I would buy too.
Thanks for checking out a new episode of Flavor Text. If you enjoyed what you just heard, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn notifications on, leave a like, and drop a comment down below. We'll see you next time.